by the colour, you can tell that bit's a bit on the hard side to get off. Here we are. This is a beautiful piece here. It's very hard. That's a good indication. You can feel the weight in your hand. These are all little indications that help us prospect this iron.
Well, of course, we rate Australia very highly indeed as a target for overseas investment.
I think in terms of British companies developing Australia, they like Australia. We do like in Britain.
Well, I should think it's exciting. Here we have not only Mount Tom Price, but the railway leading to Dampier, the use of resources which have never been used, and I suppose 10 years ago people would have thought never would be used.
This ancient range of mountains in the northwest of Australia contains the largest reserves of iron in the world. Geologists guess there are at least 100 million tons, enough to supply the whole world at the present rate of use for 140,000 years. Within just a few years, sales to Japan will make this iron ore Australia's biggest earner of export income. And the company producing most of the iron is the one at Mount Tom Price, Hamersley Iron. Hamersley Iron have built this railway from Mount Tom Price to the coast. It carries the heaviest, the richest, and the longest trains in Australia. He doesn't mind waiting. From each truck in each train that passes his homestead, he receives a royalty of about $20, a total on the year of around $3 million. For this is Lang Hancock, the local grazier and prospector who first found the iron.
Well, in November of 1952, I was flying down south with my wife, and we left a bit later than usual, and by the time we got over the Hamersley Ranges, the clouds had formed and the ceiling got lower and lower. I got into the Turner River knowing full well that if I followed it through, I would come out to into the Ashburton. And then going through a gorge in the Turner River, I noticed that the walls looked to me to be solid iron. I'm particularly alerted by the rusty-looking colour of them, which showed it to me to be oxidised iron. Well, at that time, there was a Commonwealth embargo on the export of iron ore because it was thought that Australia only had about 30 years life, 35 years life or so of iron ore. And two, there was a state blanket on the issuing of titles, so that had this become known, well, it would have gone straight to, would have become government property and nothing could have been done with it privately. Well, when we found out that the blanket was going to be lifted, we got in touch with Rio Tinto and got backing from their managing director. And then we sent in some ground parties headed by Bill Newman. Bill came in here and pegged out all the ground so that the day the blanket would have been lifted, all we had to do was put the notice papers on the pegs and we would have owned the ground. Well, this took some time. I would say the best part of 5 or 6 months.
It took quite a bit of effort. We had to do most of it walking. I suppose the temperature at that time would be somewhere around 110 in the shade. On the iron ore bodies themselves, of course, Lord only knows what it would be. But I tell you what, it didn't deter the flies. You carried about a half a hundredweight of flies on your back, and at night time, equal weight in mosquitoes try to carry you away. But it was a bit tough, but it was all right. It was exciting. The enthusiasm that Lang showed, you couldn't help but be taken up with that enthusiasm. And I've prospected most of my life, as Lang said, to be on a thing which was world class. I suppose the dream of every prospector to have an El Dorado, a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow or something like that.